Here we are at Farm Sanctuary with a pig with a very important, compelling story to tell. And here's Susie, who will tell her story.
Hi, this is Nikki. I'm cleaning your ears. This is Nikki. And Nikki was one of the Iowa pigs. She actually was a gestation sow. And while she was in the flood, she actually had her babies on the levee, who are all around her right now. But Nikki was actually starving to death by the time we found her and wasn't actually producing any milk the day we found her. And at that time she had 7 babies. 2 of them died pretty early on, but of the 7, to keep 7 alive was amazing with no milk. But we're guessing she had more at one point because all the other pigs that came in actually gave birth to about anywhere from 19 to 25 piglets. Which is the average, which no one ever realized. We didn't know at the time, but yeah, it's the average is about 20 pigs per mother. And these girls are actually bred 2.5 times a year. So every 144 days, gestation sows have babies. They usually keep them for about 10 days, then they take them away, and those babies go and they become either feeder pigs, or some of the females become gestation sows as well. With Nikki, this would be the first time that she ever got to keep her babies. Aww. And I think that's why she actually attached to us so quickly, is because she knew we weren't taking them. We actually let her have them. We were feeding her. She got to stay with them. In the gestation facility, the gestation crate, they can't touch their babies. Their babies can't touch them. They just nurse. That's all they do. So Nikki was able to actually spend time with her babies and do all these things that normal pigs should actually be able to do, and they're fantastic mothers. We had so many things with her. One of the things that was that actually made me laugh was we had a vet in Iowa who was she worked for the factory farms, and she had come out and was doing all their blood work and their health certificates and everything that needed to be done to transport them to here. And so I asked her a lot of questions because I wanted to see. I knew nothing about gestation sows. We had one girl that was walking she was flat-footed, and she said, oh, she's a sped sow. And when I said, how old is she? And she said, she's probably 3 or 4 years old. They should have already called her by now. And at 3 or 4 years old, our pigs live 11, 12 years. And they have really good lives. And to only live 3 or 4 years and to be bred 2.5 times a year just for your baby so you can never touch is just such an outrageous life. And they all
pushed over here.
Yeah, they're all very into this whole camera thing. Oh, she's actually playing with her ear right now. She's like, that's my friend, and she won't play with me. They're sisters, and they're the babies again. The babies and the mother. These babies are over a year old now. They're all inseparable. So we didn't separate her from her babies ever. We actually that was what I was talking about with the vet. The Iowa vet also said, no matter what you do, whatever you do not put her in a trailer with those babies. She'll kill them. And we were like, well, when we're transporting them back. So I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would she kill them? She's in a pen now. Why would she kill them on the road? And she's like, she'll panic. She'll lay on them. She'll kill them. So she's like, at least put them in a carrier. So we had this giant carrier in the back with all the babies. And the first stop that we stopped to get something to drink. It was a 15-hour drive, and we drove straight through. And so we made one stop for gas. We pulled over and we looked in the trailer, and she had ripped the entire crate to shreds, and the babies were nursing. Aww. And so we had to take the pieces of the crate out, and then we put them back. We threw the crate away at the gas station, and I left her with the babies the rest of the trip, and they were fine. They were absolutely fine.
So that's a myth.
It's a myth. And we did the same thing out here when the mothers were having babies. We put them in the pens in here. They never hurt their babies. We were so scared that they would that we actually had people sleep in there 24 hours a day just in case one of the babies got hurt. None of the babies got hurt ever. The only thing that they did was every single morning, these babies, I have pictures of it, these babies were this big, and they would walk up to the mother's mouth and talk to the mother, and the mother would talk back, and then she'd flip over, and then they'd all jump on, and they'd nurse and nurse and nurse. And even when they were outside, they had a whole communication thing. They would talk to her, she'd lay down, they'd nurse, and they weaned the babies themselves. We didn't have to take anybody away from anybody. It was amazing. So they stayed with their baby. They let the babies nurse for about 3 months. She's like, that's my mom.
She's checking out.
That's my mom.
Hey, baby.
She's like, she's my mom. This is Portia. And she's laying down because she really loves to lay down.
Loves the tummy rubs.
Yeah, they love tummy rubs. And again, though, these babies, they only had a couple bad days. They have bad days when they're on the levee. But when we got them, they were
pigs in the world.
Yeah, they were only about a week old. So everything else has been really good, and that's why they're very friendly and sweet and goofy. And Nikki has her moments. Nikki can get angry, mainly because she's in a lot of pain. And what we're finding with these gestation sows is they already have so much damage. They already have arthritis in the joints, and she has arthritis in her shoulder already. And I talked again to the Iowa vet, who actually call now every once in a while. I don't know why, because she knows more about them. Nobody knows about gestation sows and all these pigs. And she said, I mean, they're on concrete. So when an animal this large is growing up on concrete, it damages these joints. They need give. Like it's like you need the give of the soil. Like they're not supposed to be on a concrete floor. So all the damage that's been done before they get here is now manifesting itself to a certain degree. She's on Rimadyl though. She's on Rimadyl and she's doing good. And she every day she still wants to go outside no matter how sore she is. She goes outside for hours and hours and hours. And it's the other thing you see with these guys is they want to spend every day outside. We were told they couldn't be in the snow. And the very first snow, I've got pictures of them running all over the place. They're eating huge mouthfuls of snow. They were out probably for about 8 hours. No human being could be out that long. It was so cold. Yeah. And they were like saying, oh, they can't be out in the elements. That's why we have to keep them inside. And they can't do this because that's why we have to keep them inside. And they'll kill their babies, so they have to be in a gestation crate. And it's like, none of those things are true. Not one of those things are true. I mean, we do have to sunscreen them because they have bred them to be too white. But
they put sunscreen on twice a day, every day.
Every day. Yes, on these beautiful ears, because they're very prone to skin cancer. But so are redheads with freckles. I mean, you don't. It doesn't mean that's something that's not a bad thing. It's not. It doesn't mean you keep them inside. Yeah. I mean, they have every right to live and like have a really normal life. And these guys, out of all the pigs I've ever met, really appreciate everything. Like they appreciate every second of every day. They do really funny, obnoxious things. They break into the chicken barns and steal their food, and they're very smart. They're brilliant animals. Every night she makes a nest. Every single night I have pictures of her with mounds of straw making a nest for these babies who are almost as big as she is. And every night they sleep together, and they're always together. And I can't imagine them never being apart. So we'll never let them be apart. Like they'll stay together until they die naturally.
Yeah, the breaking of bonds between a mother and a baby that goes on and
how they can do it.
That's
the other thing that you can prove this bond like a million times over. But Chuck, who used to work here, Chuck and I had to they had ear tags. You can see these giant holes. By law, it's the craziest thing. By law, to transport livestock, most of them either have to have blood tests or at least have ear tags put in and have like health certificates, unless you're taking them directly to slaughter, and then you don't have to do anything. If they're going to stay alive, they have to be tested. If they're going to stay alive, they have to have health certificates and ear tags. If I were going to take these exact same pigs, drive them to New York, and run them through a slaughter line, none of that would have had to happen. So they make it very difficult for you to do anything but slaughter them. So we had to have ear tags put in these sweet babies, and we had to move her out of the pen when they did it because she tried to kill the vet because she did not like that. Because the babies cried, because they're big metal ear tags and they have to jam them in the ear.
Oh my
they
gosh.
would not let us microchip them. They wouldn't let us do anything that would have been easier on them. By law, we had to do it or they would not have let them out of that state. So we went through the whole process and we brought them home. And because the ear tags are metal, they get infected, and as they grow, the hole got bigger. The hole was stretching out. And we had to keep them in for at least a month because we had to be able to have our state vet come and ensure that they were properly tagged and all this stuff. So it's an absolute nightmare for these pigs. So when we finally are able to take the tags out, we put them in this pen in the back, and we closed the gate. And they started screaming like the second that we put them in a pen because they were like, something bad's going to happen. They knew that they shouldn't be away from their mother. And so we had them in the pen and they were screaming. And Nikki came flying from across the pasture. She ran over, she grabbed the gate, and she ripped it right off the wall. So we were like, okay. So we dropped the babies and we were like, never mind. We'll do the tag later. Like, it was so scary because she loves me. She's loved me since the day we met. But I am not allowed to touch these babies. I cannot hurt these babies. Yeah. And I wouldn't hurt these babies, but she didn't know what we were doing. Right. So we actually had to lock the babies in this room to take out the tags. And the whole time she was ripping at that door like she wanted to tear it off. And that was when the babies were like this big. So to take those babies away from them when they're newborns or when they're like 10 days old, and then the farmers are like, we have to do this because they're so dangerous. They'll kill you if you take their babies. Yeah, they will. Yeah. And they should.
Well, these are the lucky ones that we're kind of almost about to end up on somebody's plate, but they're saved by Farm Sanctuary. And there's something that every one of us can do to stop this, and that's stop contributing to this by buying meat and eating meat and supporting these industries. And support Farm Sanctuary.
And go vegan.
And go vegan.
Like a pig. They're vegans. We're vegan.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you so much, Susie.
You're welcome.